My name is Frederick Afrifa. I am a full-time speaker and I make these videos to help you grow and scale your speaking business without having to spend thousands of pounds on courses that don't even really help. Today, I'm going to speak about scaling your speaking business. So if you're at the stage at the moment where you're maybe charging a few £100s, or maybe you're speaking for free, so you've spoken a lot for free, you're charging a few £100s, how can you scale and get to the point where you charge thousands of pounds? What are these people doing? And there's a really simple framework that I followed called the RVI framework: relationships, visibility, and investment. So let's explore it. The first one is relationships. Relationships in this game are everything. Now, the one place to build relationships is in person. In person networking events, awards evenings, they sound a little bit old school, but that is the place where you are going to build those relationships, where you are going to find mentors. Typically, ask yourself, where can I find other speakers that are making more money than me? They are at speaking events, they are at awards evenings, and what you have to do is place yourself in those places where you're going to find people that are better than you. From my experience, it's far more helpful to meet people in person than to try to connect with them online. Honestly, I've met mentors of mine that if I was to reach them out on LinkedIn, Instagram, they would not have replied to me. But because I met them in person, because we built a connection, we were then able to build a relationship. The biggest cheat code in everything, and that's whether it's speaking, business, or your career, is finding someone that has already done the things that you want to do. The biggest cheat code for me to get gigs in America is finding someone who gets loads of gigs in America coming from the UK and asking them how they did it. If I was just to DM them, asking them, hey, how did you do it? They wouldn't reply to me. But meeting these people in person is the way to do it. Building relationships is truly everything. So if you truly want to scale and you want to get paid more to speak, what you need to do is put yourself in rooms where you can find those people. Incredibly important. How do you do that? Go on Google and type in speaking business events. Look up an organization called a PSA, Professional Speaking Association. Join a mastermind. And it's actually going to link to the last piece of the framework, which is the I. But a lot of times to get into these rooms, you might need investment. You might need to pay to get into these rooms. But the more you pay to get into the room, the higher value of person that is in the room. One of my mentors called Roger Harrop, you can Google him. He's the former CEO of Forbes and he gets paid tens of thousands to speak. I met him at a PSA event. So I went to a PSA event. The event cost about 50 to 80 pounds, I don't really remember, which is a lot of money for one event. And I went to this event and he was one of the speakers and he gave us some advice on what we can do to improve our speaking and to scale. Now, the best way to build these relationships is to action people's advice at speed. At speed. Because what I would do is I'll take his advice, implement it straight away, and then give him feedback and say, hey, thank you so much for this piece of advice. I did it and it didn't quite work for me, or it worked really well for me. And for someone to mentor you or to help you, they need to see that you're serious. I have over 20 people every single day messaging me and DMing me saying they want me to mentor them or they want my advice on certain things. And sometimes they haven't even listened to any of the free advice I gave. But other times, they are giving me feedback saying, hey, I watched this video. Thank you very much. This is the things I was able to achieve. What should I do from here? In those situations, I'm a lot more inclined to help. So I say this to say, when building relationships from people that have done the things you want to do, implement their advice at speed. What worked for them isn't necessarily going to work for you, but you need to try it. You need to make them aware that you tried so they can actually help you further. When it comes to building relationships and networking, you might be thinking, why go to an event where there are loads of other speakers that are potentially competitors? You're thinking along the right lines. In fact, if you know which clients you serve, which industries you serve, or which industries you help, you can potentially go to industry events for that industry. For example, when I decided I wanted to get into venture capital and I wanted to help startup founders get better at speaking and communicating, I would go to events where there would be VCs and there would be founders, and these founders would be pitching to VCs. Now, I didn't want any investment into my company, but I was in a room with people that needed investing and people that invested in companies. And going to those events helped me land a partnership with Bethnal Green Ventures, which is a VC company that invests in organizations. And I'm helping this VC company train the founders that they're investing. That only happened by going to that event and building a relationship. I was probably the only speaker that provided my service at that event, but I was able to interact with potential clients and actually close a deal. So that's the R. The V, visibility. You have to increase your visibility. I've said it in different videos that best known beats best. The more visible you are, the more likely you are to scale. And also, the more visible you are, the more perception you will have that you are a booked and busy speaker. And this is the whole reason why I went on The Apprentice, to be more visible. And that visibility of having 7 million people watching me every week for 2 months has skyrocketed my speaking business. Now, not everyone can get to go on The Apprentice, but what is The Apprentice? The Apprentice is just leveraging media. The Apprentice or the BBC already has an audience, and I leveraged their audience to increase mine. So think about groups that can get you visibility. Think about people that already have a platform. So that can be podcasts, that can be other Instagram accounts, that can be individuals with communities. And what you want to try and do is get in front of their audiences, leverage their audiences to scale your business and your offer. Visibility is everything. I know you're enjoying the video so far, so just give us a like and click subscribe. Now to the rest of the video. From now on, look at the most booked speakers you know and look at how much they post on the different social channels. They're posting every single day. Now, if Eric Thomas is posting every day and he's Eric Thomas, then how are we gonna eventually catch up to him or beat him if we're posting once a week, once a month? You have to allow yourself to be visible. The places that I have found more useful to grow visibility are LinkedIn and Instagram. LinkedIn is a professional networking platform. LinkedIn is also one of the most viral platforms because if you like my LinkedIn post, you're automatically sharing it to everyone that you're connected with. And if someone else likes it, they're automatically connected it with everyone that they're connected with. So LinkedIn is responsible for the large majority of the money that I have made in the speaking industry. And Instagram has also been a large contributor. At a starting point, you probably can't do everything. You probably can't start by being visible on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. So just pick the ones that resonate more for you. Pick the ones where you think you can easily find or more easily find your target market and then flood those platforms. That's going to be incredibly important when it comes to visibility. Now, you might be asking yourself, how can I leverage someone else's audience if I have nothing to show for it? And that's when you have to do the work. Remember, as a speaker, you're not just a speaker. You're an expert that gets paid to speak on their expertise. You're a business owner that provides a service, that provides a transformation for your clients. That's the first step. So even if you haven't got a big personal brand, but you truly are an expert and you're truly providing the transformation, you can go to someone that's running a podcast and saying, hey, this is the transformation that I provide for people. I think this would be valuable for your audience. Let's have a conversation. And remember that these podcasts are looking for guests on a regular basis. So a super tactical thing I do is I'll reach out to a podcast that I'm listening to and I'd say, hey, I loved your recent episode with X. I just wanted to give you your flowers. By the way, if you're ever looking for a guest, I'd be more than happy to jump on the podcast. That little quote, that little paragraph has got me almost all of the podcasts that you see me on. So simply just give them their flowers, tell them you enjoyed their recent episode, and say that you'd be more than happy to jump on. But before that, know exactly what you provide. Have a service to deliver. Have a transformation that you have evidence of delivering. Investment. Investing time and money into your service, into your business, is going to be the way that you scale a lot faster. When I was charging £150 to speak in schools, I needed a new website done. And I remember a more established speaker said to me, how do you expect to charge thousands of pounds if you wouldn't even spend £1,000 on your own website? And that hit me. And the next thing that I did is spend £1,500 on my new website. Anytime you invest in yourself, that is a sign to yourself that you can increase your prices. And some people say to me, how can I increase my price? Well, a simple way to do that is to invest in yourself, whether it's time or money or both. That is the way you get better. Now, if you were to observe two different speakers, one that gets paid £100, one that gets paid £10,000, observe their social media presence. One of them will have very crisp content. One of them will have no content at all, or content that looks very mediocre. And these things make a big difference because you can't have mediocre content, a mediocre showreel, a mediocre website, and charge expert fees. It just doesn't work like that. If you go to a top client and you say, hey, my fees are £15,000, they're going to do their research. And if you don't exist on Google, because you are who Google says you are, or if your content is rubbish, you're not going to be able to justify those figures. So investing in yourself is going to be a crucial way to get from where you are to where you want to go. That's RVI. Build relationships with mentors, with people that are more established than you, people that are better than you. You do that by going in person and meeting them. Some of these places are going to cost money. V, increase your visibility. Be more visible. Be more known. Actually, recently, someone on LinkedIn commented on one of my posts saying, okay, we get it. You were on The Apprentice. Stop shouting about it. And actually, it was quite funny because I guess it's a sign that my visibility is going up, even though that person in particular didn't seem too happy with it. And investment. I've invested thousands of pounds into myself and my development. And that's the reason that I'm confident to be able to charge thousands of pounds. And I actually saw a video once from a gentleman called Myron Golden. He's a genius when it comes to sales and business. So please look at Myron Golden. He was saying that when he started early up, he ended up paying $30,000 for a service because he's out in the States. And the day after, he increased his fee to $30,000 because he said, look, if someone's charging $30,000 for their service and I've been able to pay it, then surely I can do the same and people will pay it. So investing in yourself is a sure way to help your mindset increase those fees. So that is RVI. Build relationships, increase your visibility, invest in yourself. If you do this quite aggressively, then you can scale pretty fast. And without this, you can surely guarantee that you'll stay speaking for free or speaking for a few £100 anytime you go out to speak. If you found this video valuable and you learned anything, then the one thing I ask is that you like, comment, subscribe, and share this with a friend that might want to get started in speaking or has just started their business journey. My name is Frederick Afrifa. I do these videos so you don't have to spend thousands of pounds on courses that don't really help. See you in the next one.